As the great Buddha once said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Think about that for a moment. Every one of us has felt pain. The loss of someone we love, the betrayal we didn't see coming, the quiet ache that lives behind our smiles. But what truly breaks us isn't the pain itself. It's the silence that follows. The moments when we carry our wounds alone, pretending to be strong while our soul quietly bleeds. Buddhism teaches that your suffering isn't a punishment. It's a message. It's life whispering. Stop running from your pain. Sit with it, understand it, and let it transform you. Because true peace doesn't arrive when life gets easier. It begins when you realize that healing was never outside you. It has always been within. In this video, you'll discover how to stop suffering in silence, how to let go of what's been hurting you, and how to find that deep, unshakable peace that the Buddha spoke of, the peace that comes from within. Suffering begins where resistance begins. Suffering is not born from the events themselves. It is born from our resistance to them. Life is filled with constant changes, both gentle and harsh, and no one is free from pain, disappointment, or loss. But the way we react to those moments determines whether we experience suffering or peace. The Buddha explained that pain is an inevitable part of human existence, but suffering is optional. Suffering begins the very moment we refuse to accept what is. It begins when the mind says, "This shouldn't have happened. Why me?" or "I can't live like this." These thoughts become invisible chains that tie us to the past and make every step heavier. Imagine you are standing in a flowing river. The current represents life. It moves naturally, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes carrying things you didn't expect. Now imagine trying to push against that current, refusing to move with it. You become exhausted, angry, and fearful, because no matter how hard you fight, the water keeps flowing in its own direction. This is what resistance feels like. It's the belief that we can control what life brings us, even though the flow was never ours to command. When something painful happens, losing someone, being betrayed, facing illness, your mind wants to rewrite reality. It wants to go back to a version of life that no longer exists. That's resistance, and the more you resist, the more you suffer, because you're demanding the world to be different from what it is. The truth is, the world will not bend to your expectations. It simply is. Peace arrives when you stop arguing with that truth. Acceptance, however, is often misunderstood. It is not about liking or approving of what happened. It's not weakness or giving up hope. Acceptance means saying, "This is what's happening right now, and I will face it as it is." It means allowing reality to exist without adding layers of judgment or bitterness to it. Once you begin to accept the situation as part of your path, you stop adding unnecessary suffering on top of natural pain. When you stop fighting the current and allow yourself to float with it, something miraculous happens. Your energy that was once spent on resistance transforms into calm awareness. The pain might still be there, but it loses its power to destroy you. Acceptance gives you the strength to breathe again, to think clearly, and to respond with wisdom instead of fear. It allows you to see that everything happening to you is also happening for you, guiding you toward deeper understanding. Healing begins not when life becomes easier, but when you stop trying to make life something it's not. Freedom is found in surrender, not in defeat, but in trust. When you let go of resistance, you make space for peace to enter. The storm outside may continue, but inside you there is stillness, and that stillness is the true beginning of healing. Most people believe their suffering comes from the outside world, from cruel people, unfair situations, or painful memories. But in truth, suffering is rarely caused by what happens around you. It is created within you by the stories your mind keeps repeating. The Buddha said that the mind is everything. what you think you become. If your thoughts are filled with fear, regret, or anger, then your life begins to feel like a reflection of that turmoil. The mind paints reality through the colors of your emotions, and when those emotions are dark, even the brightest day can feel gray. Your mind has the power to create both heaven and hell inside you. Think about it. Two people can go through the same situation, yet one finds peace while the other suffers deeply. The difference isn't in the event, it's in their perception. The one who accepts, learns, and lets go finds liberation. The one who clings to the pain builds their own prison. The mind builds this cage through attachment to the past, to what could have been, to what others said or did. It convinces you that replaying those memories will somehow give you control, but all it really does is keep you locked in a cycle of pain. Every thought you hold on to becomes a bar in the cage. Every time you tell yourself, "I'm not enough, I can't move on," or "I'll never be happy again," the cage gets stronger. Over time, this mental prison feels real. You stop seeing the open door right in front of you. You begin to believe that freedom doesn't exist. But Buddhism teaches that this prison is an illusion. It's not made of metal or walls. It's made of beliefs, judgments, and fears that you have the power to change. The first step to breaking free is awareness. Begin to watch your thoughts as if you're sitting beside a flowing river, watching leaves drift by. Some thoughts are peaceful, others painful, but none of them define you. You are the observer, not the thought. When you realize this truth, the bars of the cage start to disappear. You understand that the voice inside your head is not your master. It's simply a habit, a collection of stories that can be rewritten. When you stop identifying with every thought and emotion, a new sense of space opens up inside you. You no longer cling to every worry or memory. You can see them rise, stay for a moment, and then fade away. Just like clouds passing across the sky, they never harm the sky itself. The sky remains pure, open, and untouched. In the same way, your true self, your awareness is untouched by your thoughts. Freedom begins when you remember this. Your mind is a tool, not your identity. When you control your thoughts, you control your world. When you stop believing every fearful story your mind tells, you begin to experience life as it truly is, open, fluid, and peaceful. The cage falls away, and what's left is your true nature, infinite, unshaken, and free. 3. Let go of the need to appear strong. One of the greatest sources of hidden suffering is the pressure to appear strong when you are breaking inside. Society teaches us that showing emotion means weakness, that crying means defeat, and that silence is strength, so we wear masks. We smile when we want to scream. We say, "I'm fine," when our hearts are bleeding. We hold ourselves together so tightly that our souls forget how to breathe. But the Buddha taught that denying your pain doesn't make it disappear. It makes it grow in silence. When you suppress what hurts, it doesn't dissolve. It buries itself deep within you, quietly shaping your thoughts, your fears, and your relationships. True strength is not pretending that nothing affects you. True strength is being honest about what does. It's the courage to say, "I'm struggling," without shame. It's the wisdom to rest instead of forcing yourself to carry everything alone. Think of the lotus flower, the symbol of Buddhism. It rises beautifully above the muddy water, not because it avoids the mud, but because it allows the mud to nourish its growth. The lotus understands that pain and beauty are not enemies, they coexist. Likewise, your tears are not signs of weakness. They are proof that your heart still feels, still hopes, still believes in light, despite the darkness. When you hide your pain, you close the door to healing. Healing begins the moment you allow yourself to feel without judgment. Cry if you need to. Sit with your sadness without rushing to fix it. Let the emotions flow through you like rain passing over the earth. You don't have to be the unshakable rock all the time. Even mountains crack and rivers reshape them, and that's not their end, but their transformation. Buddhism teaches the middle path, the balance between denial and despair. You don't drown in your emotions, nor do you bury them. You simply witness them with compassion. Imagine sitting with your pain as if it were a frightened child. Instead of pushing it away, you hold it gently and say, "I see you. It's okay. You're safe now." When you treat your own heart with that level of kindness, it begins to heal naturally. People often fear vulnerability because they think others will use it against them. But the truth is, vulnerability connects us to others and to ourselves. When you open up, you give others permission to do the same. You create space for genuine connection, for empathy, for real love. The ones who truly see your pain and still choose to stand beside you are the ones who help you heal. So let go of the idea that strength means silence. Strength is not in pretending, it's in being real. It's in showing up with your scars and saying, "Yes, I've been hurt, but I'm still here." Every scar you carry is not a mark of weakness, but of survival. Every time you choose honesty over pride, you peel away a layer of false strength and uncover something far greater, your authentic self. When you stop performing strength and start living truth, you'll realize that the people who matter will never judge your vulnerability. They will honor it. And more importantly, your soul will finally exhale. Because healing cannot happen behind walls. It happens in the open air of truth. So release the mask, drop the armor, and remember, the softest hearts are often the strongest ones of all. Fourth, release attachment to the past. The past is one of the heaviest burdens the human heart carries. We replay memories like broken records, hoping to change what's already gone. We revisit the same moments of pain, betrayal, or regret, as if reliving them could somehow make them end differently. But the truth is, no matter how many times you look back, the past will never rewrite itself. The Buddha taught that clinging to what has already passed is one of the main roots of human suffering. When your mind keeps returning to old stories, you trap yourself in an illusion of control. You become a prisoner of what no longer exists. And in doing so, you lose the peace that exists only in this present moment. Think of your life as a book. The past is the chapters you've already read. You can go back and reread them, but the story will never change. The words remain the same. The more you keep flipping back, the less progress you make in writing new pages. That's what attachment to the past does. It keeps you stuck in chapters that have already ended. You cannot walk forward while looking backward. You cannot heal while your heart is anchored to yesterday. The mind, however, loves familiarity. Even when the past was painful, it clings to it because pain is known and the unknown feels frightening. So it replays mistakes, arguments, and memories, not because it enjoys suffering, but because it fears letting go. But healing requires trust. Trust that what's gone has served its purpose, and what's ahead will unfold in divine order. The Buddha said, "Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned." The same is true for holding on to the past. Every time you relive it, you burn yourself a little more. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means accepting that the past cannot be different and choosing not to let it define your future. It means seeing your pain as a teacher instead of a life sentence. Every event, every heartbreak, every loss happened to awaken something within you to make you wiser, softer, and more compassionate. When you realize that the energy of those memories changes, they no longer chain you down. They remind you of how far you've come. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You might replay moments when you failed, when you hurt someone, or when you made choices you now regret. But guilt doesn't heal. It only deepens your suffering. The moment you decide to forgive yourself, truly forgive, you stop being an enemy to your own heart. You understand that the person you were back then was doing the best they could with the awareness they had. You've grown since then. You see life differently now, and that is enough reason to release the burden. To free yourself from the past, bring your attention gently to the present moment. Feel your breath. Feel your body. Feel the space you are in right now. Notice how in this very moment, this single breath, you are safe. Nothing from the past can harm you here. Every inhale invites new life. Every exhale allows you to release what no longer serves you. With every breath, you cleanse your heart of yesterday's dust. When you begin to live in the present, the grip of the past loosens naturally. You realize that no matter what has happened, the present moment is always brand new, always full of possibilities. Life is like the sky. It doesn't hold on to yesterday's storm. It clears, it opens, it shines again. The same is true for you. Once you release your attachment to the past, the light that has always been within you begins to shine again, brighter than ever. So stop looking back with pain. Instead, look back with understanding. Bless your past for what it taught you. Forgive it for what it couldn't give you. And let it rest. You don't heal by rewriting your story. You heal by turning the page. 5. Turn pain into your teacher. Pain is something most people run from, but in truth, it is one of life's greatest teachers. Every ache, every loss, every moment of heartbreak carries a lesson that cannot be learned in comfort. The Buddha taught that suffering can become the doorway to enlightenment if you have the courage to face it with awareness instead of fear. The moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" your entire perspective begins to shift. You stop being a victim of life and start becoming a student of it. Think of pain like fire. If you fear it, you run from it, and it burns you from behind. But if you face it with understanding, you can use that fire to cook your food, warm your home, and light your path. Pain in its raw form is simply energy, uncomfortable, yes, but powerful. When you sit with it mindfully, it starts to reveal things about you that you never saw before. It shows you where you are attached, where you are afraid, and where you need to grow. It strips away illusions and brings you closer to truth. In the silence of pain, there is wisdom waiting to be heard. When life breaks your heart, it's not punishing you, it's softening you, humbling you, guiding you back to what truly matters. Many people become more compassionate, more patient, and more awake after walking through hardship. The same pain that once made them cry later becomes the foundation of their strength. When you stop resisting pain and begin to learn from it, it transforms from a curse into a teacher that never leaves you the same. Buddhism teaches that everything in life is impermanent, even pain. No emotion, no situation, no struggle lasts forever. Just like a storm, pain has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you allow yourself to move through it instead of avoiding it, it eventually passes, leaving the sky of your heart clearer than before. What keeps pain alive is your attachment to it, your habit of holding on to the story of your suffering. The more you replay what hurt you, the more you feed it. The moment you look at pain with awareness and compassion, it begins to dissolve. Ask yourself, what has my pain taught me about love, patience, or resilience? Perhaps it showed you how strong you truly are. Perhaps it revealed who genuinely cares about you. Perhaps it forced you to stop living for others and start living in alignment with your truth. Pain always carries a message, but only the still mind can hear it. That is why mindfulness is so essential. It allows you to observe your suffering without becoming lost in it. You begin to see it not as a punishment, but as a sacred signal that something within you is ready to evolve. In time, you realize that the deepest pain often precedes the greatest transformation. A seed must crack before it can sprout. The night must darken before dawn. Likewise, the pain you feel today may be preparing you for a more awakened tomorrow. You cannot see it while you are in the middle of it, but later you'll look back and say, "That experience changed me. It made me more conscious, more alive." So instead of running from your pain, sit with it, listen to it, ask it what it wants to show you. Don't rush to silence it with distractions or drown it with noise. Let it speak, and it will tell you exactly where your healing begins. Because pain, when faced with courage and compassion, is not your enemy. It is your inner master, guiding you gently back to yourself. 6. Forgive. Not for them, but for your freedom. Forgiveness is one of the hardest yet most liberating acts of the human heart. We often think that forgiving someone means excusing what they did or letting them get away with their wrongs. But forgiveness in the light of Buddhist wisdom has nothing to do with approving another's actions. It has everything to do with freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. Holding on to anger, hatred, or revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. You may think you are protecting yourself by holding that grudge, but in truth, you are only deepening your pain and keeping yourself bound to the very thing that hurt you. When you refuse to forgive, the mind replays the past like an endless loop. Every time the memory arises, you relive the same pain as if it were happening again. The body tenses, the heart closes, and peace slips further away. The Buddha once said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love." This is the eternal rule. That doesn't mean you must love the person who wronged you. It means you must choose peace over pain, freedom over bitterness. When you forgive, you stop feeding the cycle of suffering that your mind has built around the wound. Forgiveness begins as an inner act, not an outward one. It starts when you say to yourself, "I deserve peace more than I deserve revenge." It means recognizing that you cannot change the past, nor can you control how others behave. But you can control how much power you give their actions over your heart. When you release your resentment, you take back that power. You begin to understand that forgiveness is not weakness. It is one of the greatest expressions of strength. It takes courage to let go of anger when you have every reason to hold it. Buddhism teaches that compassion is not only meant for others, it is meant for you too. When you forgive, you are extending compassion toward yourself. You are saying, "I refuse to carry this burden any longer." Imagine dragging a heavy bag of stones everywhere you go. Each stone represents a grudge, a memory, a wound. The longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes. But the moment you drop that bag, you feel lighter. Not because the stones vanished, but because you no longer choose to bear them. That is what forgiveness feels like. It's important to remember that forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone in your heart without ever allowing them back into your life. You can wish them peace while still protecting your boundaries. Forgiveness is not about letting people hurt you again. It's about refusing to let their actions continue to live inside you, rent-free. It's about reclaiming your emotional space so that peace and love can grow there again. Sometimes the person you most need to forgive is yourself. You might be carrying guilt for mistakes, for not being stronger, for staying too long, or for saying things you now regret. But self-forgiveness is essential for healing. You cannot find peace while being at war with yourself. Sit with your guilt, acknowledge it, learn from it, and then let it go. The past cannot be changed, but it can be understood, and understanding brings freedom. The heart that forgives becomes light, open and calm. It no longer reacts to every memory with pain. Instead, it learns to see life with clarity. You begin to realize that everything that happens, even betrayal, loss, or cruelty, can become part of your awakening. Forgiveness turns your pain into wisdom. It teaches compassion, patience, and humility. It reminds you that you don't have to carry anyone else's darkness within your heart. When you forgive, the first person you release is yourself. You free your mind from replaying the past, your heart from resentment, and your spirit from its heavy chains. You stop living in the shadow of your hurt and begin walking in the light of understanding. You start to breathe freely again, to love again, to truly live again. Because forgiveness isn't about rewriting the past. It's about reclaiming the peace that has always belonged to you. 7. Find stillness. That's where healing begins. In a world that never stops speaking, real healing grows in silence. Every day we are surrounded by constant noise, buzzing phones, endless demands, racing thoughts. We wake up scrolling, fall asleep worrying, and forget the simple art of being. Yet it is in stillness that your soul finally finds space to rest and mend. The Buddha didn't reach enlightenment through constant motion or doing more. He found it through stillness, by sitting beneath the Bodhi tree, breathing deeply, observing quietly, and listening to the truth that only silence can reveal. Stillness isn't the absence of life. It's where life's truest voices can finally be heard. When you allow yourself to pause, even for a short while, you begin to notice how much noise your mind constantly creates. Left on its own, the mind jumps from one worry to another, always chasing, always fearing, never resting. It pulls you into memories of the past and worries of the future, keeping you stuck in quiet suffering. But when you sit in silence and rest your focus on your breath, something beautiful happens. You realize the storm was never outside, it was always within. And when that inner storm begins to calm, what's left behind is peace. This peace was never gone, it was simply hidden beneath the constant urge to think, fix, and control. Stillness isn't an escape from life, it's a return to yourself. It's the remembrance that you are not your pain, not your mistakes, not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Through mindfulness, you learn to watch your thoughts drift in and out like waves upon the sea. Some come softly, others crash with force. But beneath them all, the ocean remains wide, deep, and steady. That's your true nature, the ocean, not the waves. When you begin to live from that awareness, suffering loosens its hold, and peace rises naturally within you. In stillness, your emotions are given room to breathe. You stop fighting them or getting lost within them. You simply allow them to be. You begin to observe sadness, anger, or fear rise and fall without labeling them as good or bad. You see that emotions are like visitors. They arrive, stay for a while, and then move on. None of them are permanent, and none of them define you. This gentle awareness marks the beginning of healing, because when you stop identifying with your pain, it loses its power over you. It begins to change. Stillness also reconnects you with the natural rhythm of life. When you sit quietly, you start to notice what once went unseen: the whisper of wind through the trees, the distant call of birds, the soft warmth of sunlight touching your skin. You start to feel that everything around you is breathing with you. The same life force that moves through the stars flows through your own being. And in that awareness you realize you were never separate, never truly alone. The entire universe is part of your healing. It only asks that you slow down enough to listen. Many believe healing requires more effort, more learning, more doing, more fixing. But true healing often begins the moment you stop forcing it. Just as a wound on your skin closes when you stop touching it, the wounds within your heart begin to mend when you stop stirring them with constant thought. Sit with your pain in stillness. Let time and peace do what they are meant to do. You don't have to fix everything all at once. Sometimes all that's needed is to breathe, to stay present, and to trust that your soul knows how to heal when given space. In stillness, you also rediscover gratitude. You begin to notice the quiet beauty in simple things, a calm morning, a steady breath, the warmth of sunlight on your face. Gratitude softens a restless mind. It shifts your attention from what's missing to what's already here. And in that awareness, your heart begins to open. Healing doesn't come from changing everything around you. It comes from changing how you see it. So, create small moments of stillness each day. You don't need a temple or a mountain. Your room, your breath, and your heartbeat are enough. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and listen. Not to the noise of the world, but to the gentle voice within that whispers, "You are safe now. You are healing." That is where real peace lives. That is where you come home to yourself. When you make stillness your companion, you discover that healing isn't something you chase. It blossoms naturally when the noise settles and your heart remembers how to rest. Because in the end, peace was never something to search for. It was always within you, waiting to be felt. It was always within you, waiting for your silence to set it free. Suffering quietly may seem like strength, but in truth, it slowly wears down the heart. Every hidden wound, every buried emotion becomes a small seed of pain growing silently inside. Yet, Buddhism reminds us, no pain lasts forever, and no suffering is endless. Healing is always within reach. No matter how deep the scars or how heavy the past feels, the path to peace begins not with running away, but with awareness. You can't escape your pain. You can only walk through it with understanding. In life, you will meet moments that test your faith, patience, and the strength to go on. But these are not punishments. They are awakenings. Gentle reminders that peace isn't found in avoiding the storm, but in learning to stand calmly within it. The Buddha taught that pain will visit everyone in this human life. But true suffering begins only when we cling to what should have been or fight against what is. When you stop resisting, stop chasing, and stop denying, life begins to soften once more. The hard edges of pain smooth out, and something beautiful returns: clarity, acceptance, and compassion. Healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means transforming the energy of your pain into wisdom. It means looking back and saying, "I've suffered, but I've grown." Every person who hurt you, every situation that broke you, and every mistake you made carried a hidden lesson meant to bring you closer to awakening. Nothing was ever wasted. Every tear watered the roots of your soul, preparing it for a deeper peace. The path to inner peace is not quick. It's quiet, steady, and sacred. It begins the moment you stop wishing life were different and start asking how you can live differently. Acceptance becomes your strength, forgiveness your freedom, and stillness your healing. You come to see that happiness is not the absence of pain, but the presence of understanding. So let go of yesterday's weight, of the masks of false strength, of grudges that poison your heart. Sit in silence and breathe. Feel this moment as it truly is, light, open, and alive. You are not broken, you are becoming. You are not weak, you are awakening. And as you walk this path, remember, the same light that guided the Buddha to enlightenment also shines within you. It was never gone, it only waits for your stillness to be seen again. Let peace rise within you like dawn after the longest night. You have suffered enough. Now is the time to heal. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now.